Hello everyone, welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. I've got an emergency broadcast here, though we don't have a World War III emergency, but we may as well have. I was already going to talk about this topic tonight, but I've had an important meeting has come up to discuss current affairs and what's happening. And I'm going to take that, and then I hopefully have more to report back on later. Discussion of nuclear war, how to win a nuclear war, how do you even engage in a nuclear war, what practices, what preparation do you have? Well, before we get into that, or rather, until I get into that later, I just want to convey that they're having a lot of concerns in Europe right now. In Europe, NATO is moving military, shall we say, resources. That is to say, people and equipment, munitions. They're moving them over to the border of I believe Belarus and Poland. The amount of tension that is in the air, the amount of real political tension, real military tension in Europe is palpable, meaning it's coming, folks. These people are pushing and pushing and pushing for it, and Putin has spoken and said that they, Russia, are under attack and they need to respond dramatically. That's a paraphrase, but that is what they are going to do. Get ready for it. I hope you're prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. But it is likely coming at this point. Will it go nuclear? I do not know. But Russia has had enough, and they feel overly threatened by what has been happening, what NATO is doing, what the United States government in D.C. is doing, what the European Union is doing. They want this war very, very badly. And unfortunately, they've chosen, it looks like they've chosen to go to war rather than have an economic collapse. They've been holding the economic system up for years, as we've documented, and we have discussed, and we have cataloged all along the way, but this is looking pretty scary. I apologize, I won't be on live with you guys tonight, but this is a pretty important meeting I'm going to need to have. Get things ready on my end as well. Folks, I wish this was a joke. I wish it was not anything to worry about. No one has lobbed any nuclear missiles. The term nuclear has not come up. But when you stop to think about it, and I'll give you this brief description. If you're going to go to war, you have to consider the possibilities about what weapons will be used. If nuclear weapons are an option, either offensively or retaliatory, one has to take into account what are they expecting. Do you plan a limited, a middle, or a complete, shall we say, release of all nuclear armament? Well, you should, as we say, plan for the best case scenario in this worst case war scenario, or you plan for a best, but you prepare for the worst case. You prepare for the worst case. In this instance, if they want to go nuclear, you don't just decide one day and it happens. It goes for months and months, if not years, of getting ready. You've got to worry about the EMP effect, food, water, government. What does government love? Continuity. They don't want to lose their power, their control. And if you're in a good country, of course, they don't want the people to go absolutely nuts and apeshit. But that very well may happen. In the United States here, people are complete morons and idiots. I would have done this live, but the internet decided to cancel itself. It had very poor internet down south today. But if they're going to have a nuclear war, they need to consider, will our enemy return fire? Can we shoot their stuff down? What defenses do we have? How long can we expect the exchange to last? Will there be more than one nuclear weapons exchange? Or is this just going to be a standard, how do we say this, troops on the ground? Now, Russia has been fighting a very protracted, drawn-out, long war of attrition in their SMO, special military operation against Ukraine. I don't think they're set and ready militarily, Russia, to go fight the rest of Europe. which is why if they're going to respond and they feel threatened, they're going to respond to that threat, wherever that threat is. If the threat is troops massing on the border between Poland and Belarus is a nuclear power now, with Russia as their ally. They could feel threatened, that their allies are threatened. And this is what happens when you have children over the age of 50 in charge of governments around the world. I hope you are prepared. I hope that this is a false alarm. This is not designed or intended to be fear porn. Folks, I got a lot better fucking things to be doing. But now I get to go have a very special meeting with somebody or some folks and determine what is our best course of action as well. This kind of surprised me today. I saw it, and I want to thank Red October and a few others who have sent me the message letting me know Putin is using words of war. Putin is using language that is indicative of going to a wider war, of special, shall we say, military and government powers for committing themselves to war. And this happened, folks, and let me remind you, before Russia invaded, or rather liberated, the eastern breakaway states of Ukraine, he gave lots of warning and said, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. As NATO, the European Union, and Washington, D.C. continued to push and push and push and push and push and say they were going to build bases, let Ukraine into NATO, that they were going to do a number of things. They were threatening Russia left and right. Russia had enough of it. Took them a little while. Then they did truly head into Ukraine. They have known that the European Union, NATO, and Washington, D.C. want a wider war. And so I think Russia has been planning for this. And this is my interpretation. Russia figured, well, look, we'll plan out for a nuclear exchange, a nuclear attack. We'll plan it out. And if we don't have to, great, we don't have to. But if NATO, the European Union, and Washington, D.C. continue to push and push and push, we will be prepared to take action and respond in kind to whatever threat has occurred. And here we are. March 27th, huh? That's the day that everyone should be getting the wake-up call that this could go nuclear, literally. Indeed, I hope you are prepared. And remember, the greatest threat and enemy, if it isn't a nuclear weapon over your head, is the people around you. The 10-mile radius around you. That 10-mile radius is where people operate. They're going to come in contact with you. If we are, folks, subjected to some sort of attack here in the United States, we could see a massive cyber attack. We could see a grid down. We could see an EMP, or we could have certain targets hit with weapons. Now, if I were Russia and I wanted to let the world know how serious I was, not only would I be taking those preparatory steps, I would also advise the world I am going to launch a nuclear weapon. It is going to explode. Everyone will be able to detect it. I want everyone to know that this is how pissed off I am and how concerned the country is, and that we will use these weapons, which have been around for decades and decades and decades, developed, improved, etc. And you guys are forcing us to need to use them. I would give the world warning and allow the public, people like me and you, to yell at our governments and say, enough shit already. Look what you're fucking doing, jackasses. I don't know if he's going to go that far, or if Putin's speech was supposed to satisfy that, shall we say, it's not a requirement, option. No one's going to pay any attention to that, I don't think. Just a few of us. But lighting off a nuke somewhere and saying, that's what we mean business, I think that would go a lot further than just a political speech using harsh words and letting the world know that they're ready to fight. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind, and this is very worrisome. I hope you are prepared as well. Semper Fi. God bless America. God help us all.